from underatexassky.com, and today I'm going to share with you a painting technique. Now I know normally I'm doing wreaths. Don't be fooled, because this is going to be a wreath. It's just going to be a different style wreath than we've ever done before. And this video is going to be a short video where I'm going to just basically show how I achieved the look on the frame itself. I did want to talk to you just a second and encourage you to go to the website underatexassky.com. I've been blogging like crazy over these past couple of months, and even though you may subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I really appreciate, you should go on over to underatexassky.com and subscribe there as well, because I'm blogging projects several times a week, and they're projects that you will never see because I don't do a video for all of the projects that I do. Mostly my videos are my wreath projects, and so I don't want you to miss out, because there are probably a lot of things that you'll be interested in. I will put a link on the screen where you can go on over to the website, but I encourage you to do that. Like I said, we've been doing some really fun things and some really cool things. Home decor, refurbishing old, we did a fountain, we refurbished some old things. It's just some cool stuff that I think that you might like, and some techniques that you might be able to use for a project that you have going at your house. So what I'm doing is this frame, which I've already put one coat of paint on. You can see here is how the frame started. This is just a raw frame that I bought at the craft store. It was a pretty good deal. They had them on sale too, buy one get one free, and so it didn't cost much. But you can see I used a chalk type paint, and what I ended up using on the base, it's this Martha Stewart Crafts Vintage Decor Paint, and this is a chalk paint, super thick. I was surprised. It's the first time I've ever done this. I was surprised at how thick it was. I mean, it just globbed out into the cup before I painted, but the coverage is unbelievable. It did say you could do 2 coats. I only did 1 because I'm going to dry brush over it with a lighter color. I did one of these wreaths at Christmas time. You probably have seen it on my website, where I used a crackle glaze, and I loved the way that looked. I didn't find the crackle glaze at the craft store this time, so I thought, you know what, we're going to try this technique, the dry brush technique, because I just wanted to age the frame a little bit. And you can see I wasn't super careful when I painted it the first time. The coverage is not 100%, but it didn't have to be in this case, because I am going to be going over it with this other lighter color. This color is called Wedding Cake. This color was Tilled Soil. The dark color is Tilled Soil, and clearly the other color is Wedding Cake. Now you need to shake it up really good, and as you do, you know, it's going to hit the lid, and you use the dry brush technique. Is exactly what it sounds like. Your brush is essentially dry. If you don't have it dry, you're going to glob some paint on. And you can see there how the paint has kind of gathered up inside the lid. It's a perfect amount of paint. Have yourself a paper towel as well. This is not a super duper expensive brush. If I were painting furniture, a big piece, I'd probably be a little bit more careful about my materials, but this brush is perfectly fine for what I'm doing. And so let's get started. Now, the most important thing that I learned about this is that you want to have a very light touch. This paint, if it globs on in a spot, you really can't take it back off. And so I just want my coverage light enough to make this look kind of like a weathered frame. And then I'm going to do another video. There'll be a follow-up video to this where you see how I put the elements on it and make a really cool looking frame. Okay, now here's how I start. Now, if you can see that, Mean Man, can they see that? That's the initial paint that I have on this brush, which is way too much paint for what we want to do. So I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to dab it off. I'm going to dry this brush out. Of course, there's still paint up in the bristles, but I'm going to dry it out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start. There's some ridges inside here. And you can see I just touched that right there. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that at all. And I'm just barely touching this with the brush. And the ridges, they get hit first. And you can see, and you really do kind of see the grain of the wood as you go. And this is, it's not a perfect thing. You're wanting this frame to look weathered. And that's exactly what I'm accomplishing with this dry brushing. And you can see there's still paint on this brush as I'm hitting these areas. There's definitely still some paint on the brush. Okay. And really it's hard to mess this up because you're not trying to make it look like a perfect thing. Your coverage needs to be light. You need to have a light touch. And some areas can be darker than other areas because it's looking like it's weathered, like it's been out in the elements. And so that's not a problem if some areas get hit a little bit heavier than other areas. Because honestly, that's how things weather. They don't weather evenly. Here, I hope you can see. Can you see here how that's turning out? And there's going to be elements all over this frame. You're not going to see much of the frame, but you know, you're going to see enough of it that it's going to make sense. I'm going to dab a little bit more and then wipe it off. I'm going to come inside here. And really it seems like it's better to start not on your flattest surface, because your flat surface is really going to grab onto the paint. I'm starting, and there's just ridges, a lot of ridges on this frame. And you can see I'm just barely touching these. See, and I just am loving the way this looks. And then you just can't go at it and be nervous that you're going to mess it up. You know, if I were to get like a ton of paint on a certain spot, I could always do it a little bit heavier. You could always coat it in a nice coat of the paint and then take a very fine grit sandpaper and sand it and distress it that way. To me, this is just a little bit easier than having to do the sandpaper. Maybe this is a little bit more controlled. Let's see if I got this end. But you can see it goes really fast. And I painted this piece, and I did allow it to dry for about 2 hours. That's the instructions on the paint itself, is to paint it and then let it dry for 2 hours, which I did do that because I wanted to be sure that I wasn't going to smear the paint together or anything like that. You don't want to be blending the paint. You definitely want to have your surface dry. And this chalk paint, I mean, it dries to a really flat texture. I love it. I'm looking forward to trying it on a piece of furniture. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do that. And I'll share that. And see, in projects like that, I'm not going to share on YouTube because I don't necessarily do a video of them. I'll do the tutorial. It'll wind up on my blog, and that's why you need to subscribe, because every week, every Monday, I send out a newsletter where I highlight a few projects. You see I just got a glob right there. It's no big deal because it just looks like a weathered frame. I mean, you just, like I said, you just can't be nervous when you're going into it. You just have to just throw caution to the wind and just go for it. And I'm just about done. Seriously, it's that easy. You know, and if you have some heavier areas somewhere, what I'll do, I think it'd be a good idea because I do have this little heavier area here. Let me come down. Let me add, you know, a heavier area somewhere else. I think this side maybe needs a couple more shots. And honestly, it is your touch. You know, the harder you bear down, the more paint's going to come off of your brush. And you're not really moving the paint around. Once this paint hits, it's on there because the surface is that chalk surface, and so it's thirsty for the paint, and you put it on there and you're good to go there. Okay, I think just a couple of other spots I'd like to work. Okay. Of course, this look isn't for everyone. Some people like their things to be all very, very perfect, but I love how this is perfectly imperfect. It looks weathered, and it is going to be ready to receive the elements that I'm going to put on it in the next video. But this is a dry brush technique. I used 2 different colors of chalk paint, and you can, I mean, my gosh, the market is flooded with chalk paint now. I happen to use these Martha Stewart brands just because they were available to me at the craft store. Give this a try, 2 coats, put it on a frame, and then when you look at the next video where I actually show you the frame when it's finished, you are going to be so excited and want to try it yourself because it's so super simple. Again, this is Kelly at underatexasguy.com. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope that you give this a try on furniture, on a frame. I'd start small. Honestly, I would start on something like a frame because it is kind of scary. But do it. You're going to love it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Blessings to you. Bye-bye.